Thank you so much for staying with us. We are talking about the Cooper Spend demolition issue, some of the land and social issues related to that as well. Now we're talking with Senator Marlon Morgan. We should say we did invite the People's National Party, the opposition, to send a representative. They told us no one was available for this evening. They have, though, been speaking publicly. Let's hear what the leader of the opposition had to say.
A long history where this company, New Palmas Holding, yes, has owned it since the 60s. Some of the people have been here for many, many years. They should have acquired rights by virtue of their long-standing adverse possession. I don't know how those rights have not been protected. They should be protected. And the government needs to really step in and find a solution for the people. Those who have lost their homes obviously will need to be resettled. And as I said, it will be in dignity and in comfort. And the government must get on that case immediately. And then those homes which have not been destroyed but are in peril and are threatened by the same process that took place yesterday, the government must step in and negotiate with the owners and solve that matter as well. And the MP Los and Cousins has indicated a legislative route to protect them, which has been used successfully in the past in similar circumstances. And the last point I want to repeat is that we need to have a proper balancing of rights in this country. Private property is protected under the Constitution, and that is correct. But where people who are vulnerable, people who have nowhere else to go, are involved, you cannot just enforce rights as if there was no other compelling interest that needs to be protected. That is not right, and it's happening over and over again.
Okay, and let's just take a look at what the opposition spokesperson, Lothan Cousins, had to say.
That is misleading and that is not true. They have the tools available to them. The Local Communities Amenities Improvement Act was enacted in 1977 by Michael Manley because he foresaw circumstances like this. And I am calling on the government to immediately invoke that act to protect the residents that are to be impacted by demolition, and for those already impacted by demolition, a tent is not the solution.
Okay, so we are going to be talking to a lawyer in the next segment of the program. Just to say very quickly, though, in response to a comment that Mr. Golding made, being on land, even for a long period of time, doesn't necessarily mean you've acquired rights to adverse possession. Things like getting notice would interfere with that. Things like being on the land with the permission of the property owner also has an impact on that. We'll explore that in the next segment of the program.
It's straight law, particularly in a context where the matter was settled by a holding of the court back in 2010. Mr. Golding ought to have known better than that.
Having said that, the opposition is saying the government can do more, and we heard Mr. Cousins refer there to a particular law where that he says, you know, government has called into aid before, and he's calling on it to be invoked now.
Let's examine the issue of doing more, because the truth is, we know that from a historical standpoint, we have had development in parts of the island, particularly in the tourism corridor here in Jamaica, and many Jamaicans would have moved or gravitated toward these areas in sheer pursuit, Dionne and viewers, of economic opportunities, job opportunities. So we can appreciate and understand why some persons would have, gone that route. The whole issue of resolving land settlement and expanding access to housing in the country has to be a conversation that is much more comprehensive than just considering this particular situation or that particular one. And that is why considerably greater effort has been placed in recent times, certainly over the past of the life of this administration rather, to treat with the issue of bringing more people into titles and regularizing more informal settlements. Enhancing capacity.
This particular issue, Senator.
Land entitling. Enhancing capacity has been a key plank and pillar in that regard.
But this particular issue that Mr. Cousins is mentioning, bringing into bear this particular act to try to secure the land.
Well, I would have to hear him unpack precisely what actions he's commending in that regard. As I said earlier in the first segment, the approach, the policy approach and outlook of this government is not to seek to incentivize behavior and actions that you do not want to promote. Yes, because that would be contradictory, that would be inimical from a public policy standpoint. You would have heard the PNP, for example, making mention of
You're saying you don't want to reward
exactly.
capture land.
What we want is for, yes, regularize as far as you can in relation to the titling of land and putting people in a position where they can go and utilize that title to, you know, take out loans and to pass it on from a generational standpoint and so on. So you do not want to incentivize something that is inimical to order in the society and, of course, development planning and the orderly development of communities. So I was speaking a while ago about the comprehensive approach. When you think of the tourism sector, for example, one of the approaches we have adopted is to say to hoteliers who are coming into country and investing, make provision for tourism workers. Since it is that gravitating to the tourism opportunities and other opportunities around the island is a part of this proliferating issue of quote-unquote squatting, kindly make provision for these persons. We have stipulated that, and I'm delighted that the government has pioneered that, Dionne, and many such provisions are coming in place. We see Princess Resort with 500 rooms for tourism workers. Grand Palladium, with respect to their build-out now, is bringing on stream accommodation for tourism workers. And what is going on in the Rose Hall belt there with Hard Rock, and I believe at least one other property with respect to Lilliput and its environs, that is holding vistas in terms of accommodation and housing solutions for tourism workers, because we have to preserve the dignity of our people and understand the sheer reality of people locating where jobs and opportunities are.
One of the criticisms of the opposition was that the government didn't see fit to take this matter to the Privy Council after the Court of Appeal had dismissed the government's appeal in that regard. Has the administration looked at that and considered whether it was at fault?
Dionne, the court was particularly emphatic in relation to the observations it made. The judge in this case, I believe it was Justice Lennox Campbell, Dionne, you may have read through the literature, so you are apprised of what the judge observed, that what the PNP sought to do was insincere, iniquitous. They invariably went the route of seeking to deprive and trample on the constitutional rights of Mr. Chisholm, the folk with respect to New Falmouth development, to their ownership of their property. So trespass on their property rights, and the PNP, that is, often seek to bleat on this business of constitutional rights. But when they saw fit, and when it was expedient so to do, as they are in the habit of doing, they would have gone the route of trying to trample on. So our position, Dionne, is that this matter was fairly straightforward. That action back in 2012 by Dr. Maurice Guy under the Housing Act was a sham and an approach to try and fabricate a scenario which did not, as the court found, Dionne, satisfy the statutory requirement and the statutory threshold to go in as housing minister on the basis of seeking to take over and develop a space. So Dr. Maurice Guy back then was just fabricating something, and it is instructive to note, just before I come to those 2 points, it's instructive to note, Dionne, that the Member of Parliament at the time was the PNP's Patrick Atkinson, who also served at the time as Attorney General. As to what role he played, as to whether he proffered advice in respect of this matter, it is yet to be seen.
Nearly out of time. 2 quick questions.
Sure.
One, does the government think, though, it could have done more to facilitate a more positive outcome? And I say this because in the court rulings, Mr. Chisholm, the owner, is quoted by the court as saying that he had appealed to the government to try to assist the squatters on more than one occasion. He said he had appealed to everybody to try to have this come up.
Absolutely, and I can advise you confidently, Dionne, it is my information that Mr. Chisholm's counsel, his attorney, following that 2010 judgment, had written to then Housing Minister Dr. Horace Chang under the Bruce Golding administration at the time. And discussions commenced, or discussions ensued, but those discussions and negotiations broke down because my information is that there are 2 senior PNP officials at the time who basically caused the people to take a hardline position and not be amenable to negotiating and coming up with some amount of consideration, payment for settlement of the land. So persons would have told the people, PNP politicians that is, that they should occupy the land, and that is why that kind of defiant posture was adopted, unfortunately, and which is why the court itself found that politicians exploited the people who were quote-unquote gullible.
Final.
Those were the judge's words, the words gullible.
Final comment, is the government looking into the use of the police in terms of this particular demolition exercise, most particularly what seems to have been preemptive arrest of men from the community who we were told were held for 13 hours, released without charge, without question and answer, who seem to have been arrested for the sole purpose of preventing any interference with the demolition.
It's very useful that we didn't close out the segment without canvassing this issue. As you can appreciate, Dionne, it is now a settled matter in the Jamaican jurisdiction that government has remit vis-a-vis national security policy broadly, and it is the Commissioner of Police